Hey everyone, I'm a Big Blaze. In this video I'll show you everything that you need to know on the dungeon Stonevault. Mythic Plus is something that a lot of us really love to do in this game, but the feeling when you enter a key and you have a player who doesn't know what to do is so frustrating. Make sure you do understand everything and your way to success is open. If you like this content, make sure to like and subscribe. There is a lot more guides on the way. Let's start. So, we start this dungeon in this tight hallway. There is one important thing that you need to know before the first boss. Ghastly Void Soul casts Howling Fear. Make sure to not pull more than you can handle, and of course you must interrupt it, otherwise the whole group will be feared for 4 seconds and will get a lot of damage. Important thing to know that Blizzard changed the way spell queue works. Now you must interrupt a specific cast, otherwise most of the time the mob will keep casting the same ability until success. Other than that, Cursed Invader casts Arcing Void. If not interrupted, this cast can affect up to 4 players, doing less damage to each target it jumps. Void Infection is an instant curse on a specific player that damages him for 12 seconds. Make sure to talent into Curse Dispel if you can. The Loader Bot casts Pulverizing Pounce. Make sure to move from the affected area. The Earth Infused Golem has a physical frontal attack and an AoE ability that reduces movement speed within 30 yards and damage all players. Make sure to pop a defensive when you pull the two of them. The first boss, Edna, is a pretty intensive healing fight, so make sure you do help the healer as much as you can. Volatile spikes appear under 3 random players. Try and be close to each other to make it easier to break it with the next ability. Be aware not to contact with it cause it will do a lot of damage. The boss casts Refracting Beam on up to 5 players and damage them. If the beam hits any spike, it will break and damage all players. Try not to break all of the spikes at once to prevent a massive AoE on all party. Seismic Smash is a tank ability that leaves a dot on the tank. When dispelled, gives reduced damage taken by 50% to the tank. You can time the dispel to mitigate the next Seismic Smash on the tank. Air Chatterer is an AoE damage on all group that breaks any spikes that are still up. This situation can be hard to handle and can cause a wipe, so make sure you do play this correctly. When you finish this boss, you can choose to go to the left or to the right. Usually players go to the right side, but things can change throughout the season. On this side, there are few things that you need to know. Aspiring Forgent can increase his target damage taken by 5%. This effect stacks. If you are the tank, be aware to the amount of stacks you have. Make sure you sidestep when the engine speaker jumps to the point. It will also slow the tank with Concussive Smash. The Forge Loader shoots a frontal attack towards a player. If being hit, it does a lot of damage and leave a dot on you for 10 seconds. Molten Mortar is a dot on a player that cannot be dispelled. This effect stacks. Healers, make sure to pay extra attention to those stacks. The last thing you need to know before the second boss is that you must stop the Forgebound Mender Restoring Metals cast. You also need to interrupt as much Alloy Bolt cast as you can cause it does a lot of damage. On the second boss, it is important to know that you need to finish them off together, otherwise you get Silent Speaker which will probably wipe the group. Starting with Speaker Broke. Make sure to interrupt Molten Metal at all times. It will damage and slow the affected targets. On high Mythic Plus, it can result a wipe. Make sure you have a range interrupt for this when it jumps for the Scrap Song. On Scrap Song, make sure to move from the middle to not get hit by the big cube. Exhaust Vents is an AoE ability that will do a lot of damage on the group, and also do not stand near the vents during this ability cause it will do a lot of damage. This ability activates 3 vents inside the room. Make sure you move to the inactive side to make your life easier. Moving to Speaker Dolita, make sure to sidestep his frontal attack. Igneous Hammer is a tank ability, make sure you have a defensive for it. On Blazing Crescendo, he will drag the cube to the center of the arena and will explode the cube, causing it to shoot lava on each side. Make sure you move to the edges of the arena and dodge it. While you do that, remember to not get hit by the active vents if there is any. After you finish this boss, take the cart and make your way to the third boss. Voidbound Despoiler casts Void Outburst, AoE damage ability on all players for 6 seconds, help the healer with defensive. Shadowclaw is a tank buster. When you pull Voidbound Howler, you must interrupt Piercing Wail. If not, it will do high AoE damage on all group and increase the next Piercing Wail by 25%. On the same pull, try and interrupt Turn Speaker Censoring Gear cast to prevent high damage on the target and 3-second silence. This silence is magic and can be dispelled, so keep an eye on it. Last is Void Touched Elemental. Remember to move from the affected area on Crystal Salvo. When you reach the third boss, healers, prepare yourself for intense healing fight. The boss casts Crystalline Smash on the tank, make sure you have a defensive. This cast creates crystal shards around the arena that you need to destroy. Make sure you do that one by one cause it explodes and damage all players. This effect stacks. The tank can drag the boss to each shard to make it easier. On Unstable Crush, make sure to move from the boss and collect at least 1 stack of Unstable Fragment. It will give you a stacking dot but will help you with increased damage and healing on the next boss ability. On Zero Energy, the boss starts to cast Fortifying Shell. He will try and absorb all the crystals that left, and if succeed, it will increase his absorb shield. During this ability, he will pulse wide AoE damage on all group, break the shield as fast as you can to finish this phase. After you defeat this boss, again take the cart and move to the last part of the dungeon. Make sure to move from the Curse Forge Honor Guard Shield Stampede. You can aim the arrow to the wall to prevent him from going far with the charge. Other than that, Stonebreaker Strike is a tank buster. Rock Smasher casts Smash Rock. This is a hard AoE damage ability, so make sure to pop a defensive here and some healing CDs. This ability will knock you and increase your damage taken by 10% for the next Smash Rock. His other ability is Granite Eruption. Make sure to move from the affected area. The Curseforged Stone Shaper casts Stonevault. Try and interrupt as much as you can. When this mob spawn Earth Bars Totem, you need to swap it ASAP. If the totem finish the cast, it will probably be a wipe. The last boss is pretty simple but requires some understanding. The main ability in this fight is managing the dot you get from Void Corruption. To remove this dot, you need to stand near the Void Rift but not on it. If you are in 3-yard range of it without the dot, you will instantly die. When a player removes a dot, the rift moves, so make sure you look for the next rift. During Entropic Reckoning, pop a defensive if you are low, and if you can, try and drop the paddles on top of each other to save room. Lastly, make sure to move from the big frontal cone. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. There is a lot more guides and tips ahead. Thank you for watching.